The Nanjing Massacre has been labeled as a genocide, where over the span of 6 weeks, 200,000 people or more were murdered. As a trigger warning, I will be discussing gruesome details as well as SA. Now, I can't show most of the photos from the massacre as they are really, really horrific. If you have the stomach to do so, I would encourage you to look at them. Again, it's important that this part of history is not forgotten. This is a painting about the massacre, and it really shows the extent. You can see here the soldiers by the side kind of, looking apathetically and almost smiling, while all these civilians are in extreme agony. After the Japanese had taken the city, they took out their frustration on the civilians. An estimated 20,000 to 80,000 people were subjected to horrific SA. Now I say people because men were also subjected to this. Now of course women were the vast majority, but some men were subjected to SA as well. The massacres of the civilians was just horrific. These men here, for example, are about to be buried alive. There are reports of the soldiers forcing families to commit incestuous acts with each other as well. Another report is of a boy who was beaten to death because he refused to remove his hat. Pregnant women were often targeted and were often killed by being bayoneted in the stomach. The Japanese searched the city for any Chinese soldiers. On a particular day in December, thousands of these Chinese prisoners of war were arrested and gathered together near the river. Now the Japanese tied the Chinese prisoners' hands together and separated them into columns of 4, where they then unleashed machine gun fire, killing most of them. Now it's described that the scene was horrific, where the men couldn't do anything because they're tied together and they just screamed in agony and in desperation. Those who were left alive were then bayoneted and the bodies were tossed into the river. Now I'm going to tell a rather horrific story, and again this is gruesome, but again these things need to be remembered so that they aren't forgotten and these things are never repeated again. On December 13th, a group of Japanese soldiers arrived at a particular house owned by a landlord named Mr. Ha. The Japanese soldiers demanded entry and Mr. Ha opened the door immediately. The Japanese killed him instantly with a revolver. When his wife, Mrs. Ha, asked why they killed him, they turned the revolver on her and killed her as well. After the murder of Mr. and Mrs. Ha, the Japanese entered into the house and found a woman hiding under a table with her 1-year-old child. They dragged her out of the house and into the street, where they forced themselves upon her before killing her with a bayonet and killing the 1-year-old with a bayonet, and then they forced a vodka bottle into her reproductive organ. The Japanese soldiers then returned to the house, where they found a grandpa and grandma aged 76 and 74 protecting younger children. These two were murdered immediately, and then the Japanese forced themselves upon the younger children. The oldest of these children was 16. She